Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for inviting me here. First of all, I really love the format 15 minutes because I only sound intelligent for 15 minutes. So I love the format. I run a FinTech startup. We help people plan, learn, and analyze their investments. We are a bootstrapped company operating from Raipur. And, being bootstrapped, operating from Raipur automatically has a lot of stories. So, first things first, I'm sure a lot of you want to be entrepreneurs. One critical bottleneck that I hear in wannabe entrepreneurs is that I really want to do something, but I don't have a killer idea. I don't have a great idea. And that is where I have a big problem. I would say as Indians or as citizens, why do we need an original idea? We don't need an original idea. Think about it. How do we learn to walk? By copying our parents. How do we learn to speak? By copying our parents. Some of us, how do we pass exams? So why? Why does this happen that when we think of entrepreneurship, the first thought that comes to our mind is that it has to be something original? At Finology, trust me, I've never done anything original. We copy others. It saves R&D costs. You feed off other people's mistakes. And we operate like that in all forms of life. I'll give you a very good story. At my startup, I have never interned anywhere, never worked for a day anywhere. And I have similar people in my team, mostly freshers back then, 5 years ago. So we had no idea what we were doing. Absolutely no idea. The only thing we had was we had received a license from SEBI to actually help people make their investments. So we were SEBI registered investment advisors. We had idea about that. We did not have any idea about product building. And my team told me one day that they needed access to better data in order to make better decisions. I'm sure you have things like Bloomberg Terminal and things like that. So my team said they needed that. Demo of all these softwares. There was one by Thomson Reuters, one by Bloomberg, one by Capital Line. My team tried everything except Bloomberg. They did not like anything. And the Bloomberg terminal, when we inquired, it costed 25 lakh rupees per system per year. And we were a young, small startup. And even then, we were ready. We can try it. But I think I don't know, I'm assuming there was some reluctance on their part to come down to Raipur, give a 1 month demo, and justifiably so, they were pretty sure we couldn't afford it. We were invisible on the internet. How is some random company with a website on the Bloomberg? So the trial was delayed. Because we knew nothing better, I told my CEO, sir, let's build one of our own. And he says, how? And I say, nothing. We'll buy data from stock market vendors I have found, and kuch nahi karna hai. You buy data from stock market, and we show the data with our colors and our order. All you have to do is color it. We'll get tables from the stock market data vendor. And he says, if it's that easy, we'll do it in 14 days. Expected cost 2 lakh rupees. Balance in bank account 5 lakh rupees. I said, let's do it. And we actually thought that's how it will be. When the data vendor gave us the data, first problem we saw is that, say, debt for a company is 0. There are 5,000 companies. Some companies reporting that 0 as 0, some as 00, some as 000, some as a dash, some is writing nil, and some they're leaving it blank. And we thought, okay, we have to teach our algos to standardize it and show it as 0. And then came 5,000 other companies, 10,000 lines of data past 10 years. So the project that was supposed to launch in 14 days at a cost of 2 lakh rupees, it's called Finology Ticker. It helps people analyze stocks. It eventually costed us 18 months, 1 crore rupees. And because it took 18 months is why we were able to gather 1 crore rupees to fund it. Otherwise, we would have been bankrupt. So thank God it took 18 months. Sometimes I wanted my team to work slow, you know. And once the product was ready, this gets really interesting, is the day, so we have just launched the product on YouTube, on social media, and we are getting great traction. And just after our launch event gets over online, Modi ji starts declaring lockdown online. At the same time, it was perfectly coordinated. And we were not ready to work from home. We were in fact planning, today our product has launched and 10 people, how much will be tested? Let the people test it, we'll fix bugs tonight. And suddenly our office was at an incubation center in a mall. The mall manager comes and says, Niklo. Yeah? And most of us were on desktops and shops were shut. We ran frantically throughout the city to get those Tata Photon devices, something similar, so that networks on our laptops, buy new laptops, things like that. And in the evening when we reach our home and the customer support department is live again, we see a common thread of complaints saying the website is crashing. And our CTO is on the call, all of us are on the call, trying to figure out what's happening, and he tells us everything is fine on our side. The data vendor's server is not responding to our API query on time. So every time a user comes, searches for a company on our website, wants to analyze the balance sheet, we would hit the data vendor's server and fetch that data. So we call the data vendor. There is also chaos. And then he tells us, I thought you are a small startup, so I quoted you 10 lakh rupees, but you are getting huge traffic. Our server cost will be 10 lakh, more than 10 lakh rupees a year. So the charge that we are charging you will not even cover our server costs. We cannot give you more bandwidth, you manage with it. And our website has crashed. And it's first day of work from home. So for the next 3 months, our website was down. And we had to build everything from scratch again on raw data instead of APIs, and all work from home. And out of all of this, it happened. One, it happened because we were all absolute bunch of foolish people. We had no idea what we were doing. But in hindsight, I'm glad it worked out that way, because if we would have had any idea of what will it take to build Finology Ticker, probably I would have chickened out and I wouldn't have built it. And because we had no clue, we did not know what's MVP, we did not know all the management terms that's considered critical to build a product, is why we were able to build it. And looking back today, 2 crore people use it every quarter to analyze stocks. We are just behind the market leader who has been in the industry for more than 20 years. It's been 4 years to us. And it all happened because, we thought, sapna dekhte hain and let's run after it. So sometimes randomness is great. Sometimes we overplan. Sometimes we fear too much. Sometimes we overcalculate. We don't allow life, destiny, faith to play out, because our overplanning sometimes kills everything. So certain degree of randomness is extremely important. Another great aspect about being or aspiring to be an entrepreneur in India. So only one time I have been outside India. I went to Israel in 2019. The government sent us free of cost for a startup exchange program. I think the government wasted a lot of money on me. I came back learning nothing. My fault, not the government's. But I learned one thing there. So, they have a population of 90 lakh and they're considered the startup capital of the world. And there was one common theme. I would keep asking them that, okay, this startup is successful, but which attempt is this? The highest number was 17. So someone attempted 16 failed startups ideas, and on the 17th he got success. And the least count I had was 3. And I met dozens of people. No one was successful in their first attempt, second attempt. In India, unfortunately, you fail one time, you are labeled ki job kar. You fail 2 times, you are married. Huh? So that's the problem. I mean, in what domain of life are we successful in the first attempt or the second attempt? Never happens, right? But in entrepreneurship, we don't give ourselves enough chances. And I understand sometimes your financial situation is such, your family needs your support. I understand. Then it's acceptable. Family first, whatever your family needs. But there are these other instances where we label ourselves as failures, where we lose confidence. Those incidents shouldn't happen, because when you fail 2 times, only then actually you are ready to succeed. So that's important. Another extremely, I'm a YouTuber, I can go on forever, so it's important to check time. Yeah. Another important aspect, and we all are really lucky that we are in India, and I'm not saying it in a nationalistic way, I'm saying it in a purely economic way, and I'll tell you why. When I met these people in Israel, there was one constant theme. They said, we are 80 lakh people. So by definition, if we have to scale, we have to build for the world. And that's true for 90% of the countries. They have to build for the world. You pick any European country, their minimum acceptable market is at least built for Europe. Right? हमारे यहाँ, you pick any state, उसकी population Europe से ज़्यादा होती है. Right? So you don't even need to make for the country. You make for your state. Cities like Bangalore, you make for Bangalore. 2 crore people. 2 crore, I think half of the countries don't have that population. And it's so much. Imagine you sitting in India and trying to build something for Germany, Italy, Spain, US at the same time. Different regulations, different marketing, different languages. It's very tough. India, you never have that problem. You become, 5 times a unicorn, whatever above is that, just by building for India. That's a huge advantage. Great advantage. So please use that advantage. Another important aspect is about entrepreneurship is, sometimes when we are hiring people, we want to hire geniuses. We want to hire people who are really great at something. I have a bit of a contrarian opinion on that. I think it's important to hire good people, people you can be friends with. Because think about it, if you like working with someone and that person, he or she is dedicated, and even if he or she is of below average or average intelligence, if you keep doing something for 10 hours, 8 hours a day for 6 months, you will get the hang of it. It will become easy. Even rocket science is not rocket science if you do it for a decade for 10 hours a day. So what's more important is that you build a team with whom you would like to spend time. Let's consider an analogy of a restaurant. The restaurant whose ambience we don't like, we avoid going to that place for an hour. Ambience अच्छा नहीं है, we don't want to go there. How will you work with people, with individuals, professionals who you can't admire? You have to sit with them for 10 hours a day, for weeks, for months and years. It's extremely important that when I enter my office and I see these people, I have a smile on my face and I feel glad that I'm working with them. I don't care if they are a little less intelligent. But I don't want an extremely intelligent person who spoils my company's culture and who's not a good person to work with. If a person is dedicated and of average intelligence, they'll figure out. And in my team, I love these kind of people who are willing to learn more. So that is important. I think I am done with my time. Yeah, thank you so much. It was a pleasure.